It's Wednesday, June 19th, Thursday, June 20th, if you're on the East Coast, across the pond, or down under. And this, my friends, is Spaced Out Radio. Hope you had a great day and night. I am your host, Dave Scott, broadcasting to you live from the Great White North, on top of the sunny mountains of central British Columbia, right here at SOR headquarters. We welcome you to tonight's show, including Revolution Radio. If you want to take a listen to our archives, they are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can find our SOR Newswire, play the show live. We got more features from the Gavinator coming very soon. Tonight's show is brought to you by Mighty Moose Beard Oil Company. It's 100% Canadian, 100% natural, taking care of beards around the world. Visit MightyMooseBeard.com. Use promo code SOR2019 today. The UFO world seems to be getting news and updates every couple of days now, as the once fringe topic is getting some pretty serious mainstream attention. Look at today, where we found out that the United States senators, as of today, have been briefed in on unidentified craft by the Pentagon and the United States Navy. This story just keeps building and building and building. We got to talk about it. It's what's happening in the news today. Are they preparing themselves for something? Is there anything to this? Joining us for the next couple of hours, and actually all show, will be Lorien Fenton. But later on in hour 3, maybe hour 2, Melinda Leslie is going to join us. She actually is running late due to the fact that she has a UFO Skywatch going on right now in Sedona, Arizona. And if you ever make your way down there, I highly suggest you take her tour. Apparently, it's amazing. So make sure you do that. But Melinda says, don't worry, fans, she will be here. So she called up Lorien and said, Lorien, fill in for me until I get there. Then we'll tag team Dave with a lot of UFO talk on Spaced Out Radio. Lorien Fenton, much love to you, my friend. How are you?
I am doing really, really good. Yeah, I just got home from work and you said, my God, did you read the article today? And I said, no. And I'm like trying to pound through it. So why don't we break it apart and kind of go over it? Because I'm fascinated that, but it did say at the very beginning of the article, it's only 3 more senators were brought in today. Is that correct? Or, briefed today, or however they're describing it.
Well, I think the interesting part about it is this was in response to requests for information from congressional members and staff. The Navy officials provided a series of briefings by senior naval intelligence officials as well as pilots who reported hazards to aviation safety. Now,
wow.
I got to tell you, we're going to get heavy into this, and you know what? I'll save the woo for later. Okay, we can't woo the audience out right off the bat, because if they're too woo, they won't be ready for Melinda.
Yeah, they'll be woo-wooed, and then they won't,
exactly.
You won't be able to think at that point. So I get it.
Lorien, you have been doing this topic for 20 plus years. This is a topic.
It's been longer. Actually, Dave, it's 40 plus years. I started looking into UFOs, aliens, psychic phenomena, ghost, you name it, whatever it is, when I was really at about the age of 12 to 13 is when I really started getting books from the library, starting to read about the topic. I mean, I've been doing this my whole life. And the reason I got involved in it so much is because a lot of your listeners probably don't know this because they think I'm really entrenched in the UFO community. I have been a psychic my entire life. I don't tell anybody about it. I don't make a living at it. I don't do it for fun and games. And I don't even do it for myself anymore because I found out that most psychics are terrible at being, reading themselves. You just can't do it. And I've actually been through the Berkeley Psychic Institute, and I've had a lot of amazing experiences happen to me that weren't around UFOs. But I'll tell you what I did know at a very young age that aliens were real. I don't know why I knew. I just knew. And I used to go up to a running track near my home in Portland, Oregon with my parents at the high school I went to. and this was even before I got into high school, I would run at the track at night, and I used to look up at the sky, and I used to say, and I begged them. I mean, I'm literally begging from my heart and my soul for anybody up there to come and get me and take me home. So that's how badly I knew I didn't belong here and I wasn't part of this mess. That's all I gotta say. Because when you're 13 and you're looking up at the sky going, I know I'm in the wrong place. Please come and get me, to where I'm supposed to be. You know that you believe in a higher power that has nothing to do with the God of the Bible, right? You're already 5 million steps ahead of that. So anyhow, so I've known about aliens and UFOs and all that my entire life, and I totally believed in them, but I never saw any aliens and I never saw any UFOs that I can remember or know of. And I have to always say that I don't remember or know of, because everybody I know that is a contactee says, oh my God, I've seen you on the ships, I've done this with you, blah, 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 and I just don't remember a darn thing. And frankly, I just don't care that much, about getting regressed and doing all that, because Dave, I have such a different take on it than most people do, and I think it's because I am a psychic that I have such a different take.
Right.
I know it's there. I know it's real. I don't even have to ask anybody about it. It's my personal experience with them. I've had a woman walk through my wall and talk to me, and I don't remember much of what she said. I know there was a being, and I can't say it was a gray alien or reptilian. My recollection is that it was a light being, and it was standing by the bed, touched me in the forehead, took me to a place of love and light. Very personal experience. I've never been on a table being examined and tortured and in a lot of pain and being told that I'm okay. I've never had the trauma-based stuff happen to me. So I'm quite content with just keeping it all pretty personal, to be honest with you. But there is one very important point that everybody needs to know. Everybody that's into the UFO field is at it at a different level. And I was just telling Melinda on the phone yesterday that I'm at the jaded level. Because
I think a lot of people are.
Yeah, I mean, it's just, if you've been doing it for as long as I have, you just kind of get to the point where you just go, oh yeah, they're real and who cares anymore, But I forget that, like the what's it called? Unidentified TV show, Ancient Aliens, and, people are all excited about it if it hasn't been a part of their life since they were born, or a kid or a teenager or whatever. So, I always try my real hardest to look at it from a perspective that, these people don't know what's going on. And this is where this whole article from Politico is really interesting to me. So tell me more about it, because I really didn't know much about it until you called me.
Well, apparently what's happening is 3 more U.S. senators received classified Pentagon briefing today by the United States Navy and the Pentagon, according to congressional and government officials. It's part of a growing number of requests from people in D.C. and oversight committees wanting to know what's going on. One of them was apparently Senator Mark Warner, a Democrat from Virginia, and the vice president of the Senate Intelligence Committee.
Wow.
So he went on and said, if naval pilots, his spokesperson, went on to say, and I'm quoting Politico here, if naval pilots are running into unexplained interference in the air, that's a safety concern Senator Warner believes we need to get to the bottom of.
Well, okay, now I look at this twofold. I don't know about you, but I'm going to give you my analysis of just what you've read. First of all, we've never had a collision with an alien spacecraft that I know of, okay, because if we talk to people like Clifford Stone or, other people that have done crash retrieval, maybe there has been an accident with an American jet or Russian jet or God knows where, who knows over the years. But I doubt seriously if they'd ever hit us, because the problem with us is we're 3D reality. They can take our reality and stop it on a dime. If they wanted that plane to just hover in midair and just sit there, they could just do whatever they do to it and it wouldn't move. Okay, I'm going to give you a great analogy. Remember the X-Files with, oh God, what was his name? Barry. I think Barry was the main character, and he was on a plane, and the plane just stopped, and he was taken out the door or the window or something. And I thought to myself, oh yeah, that probably happens all the time. People are always probably being abducted from planes that stop in midair. Who knows? But I doubt very seriously we'd have a crash. Now, for them to be freaked out about it, that's really good, because they obviously don't know much about UFOs if they're freaking out about that. So what's your take on it? You know, because I know for a fact they're not going to collide.
My take on it is that whatever these craft are, they have the technology to probably scare the living daylights out of us because of their maneuverability and their technology. And I do believe that. You know, but what's piloting them? The thing that I don't like about this entire process, it's like they are playing us, Lorien, that we are dumb. No matter whether it's the Senate committee or just human beings in general, whoever is in the know is playing us for dumb. The way they are trying to separate extraterrestrials from UFOs, the way they are trying to say that it's from Russia or China or some other foreign land or other than the United States. We don't even know if this technology is from the United States. We know that it just has not been seen before. So there are so many questions that need to be answered in regards to this phenomena that many of us are getting spun around in circles, not knowing where to stand. And I stand by the fact that we have had so many people come out and say, that is not ours. That is not human. Okay, a human's body, if we take some of these pilots and say there is no way a human could survive some of these turning radiuses or speed takeoffs from 0 to 30,000 miles an hour in a second.
Right.
All right. If it's not human, it's extraterrestrial.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So why can't we admit that?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, well, we got a problem here, though. I mean, these guys they don't want to know there's aliens driving them, first of all. The Pentagon's not even bringing that up. They're just saying there's stuff in our sky. We don't know what it is, and it's zooming around and doing things we cannot do, okay? And then on top of it all, if we do have a secret space program, how much of that is ours, like you were saying? Maybe it's 50%, maybe it's only 30%, who knows? And how come we're not telling them that we have been up there all this time, and that's what all those black budget, that's where all the black budget money went to, and we're up there fighting these guys, or we're up there monitoring them, or we're just up there, just looking at them and hoping they don't shoot us out of the sky. I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the relationship is. See, that's 90% of the problem. So here's the real kicker to me, Dave, is why is the Pentagon and the intelligence agencies even telling these guys about them being up there doing maneuvers that could be collision oriented or trouble for us? What's their end game? What are they trying to get the Senate to do for them? Because we know, you and I know, and all the UFO people out there and all the contactees know for a fact there is no problem with them hitting an aircraft. We also know that they can go invisible and be gone in the blink of an eye, so there's nothing we could do to even keep up with them. So what are they asking for? Why don't they just go to them and say, look, there's nothing we can do, so just letting you know we're all just kind of stuck here waiting for them to make the next move. I'm trying to figure that out. And that's exactly it. I mean, who's in the know? I mean, it was also announced, I believe it was yesterday, that there was $6.5 trillion unaccounted for by the Pentagon. Trillion. Well, I thought that was $50 trillion back in 9/11, the day before. Remember that? Yeah. Well, that was 2.5. Yeah. I mean, it just seems like every few months the Pentagon is losing trillions. Yeah, where is this money going? It's going into the black budgets, all the black budgets, and it's going in to make those crafts that I like, that big black triangle I saw. I knew it was not an alien craft. I knew it was ours. The one I saw back in 2011, I knew was an alien craft. And you know how I knew the difference? The second one, I did not have any kind of mental telepathy with me. I did not feel kind of funny. I didn't get that stomach kind of jittery feeling. I didn't get any feelings at all from the second one. The very first one was 3 balls of light in a triangle formation, and I got a download from these guys talking to me, and they gave me amazing information. So, and I actually had a scientist at one of the big conferences come up to me one day, and we were talking about something else completely, had nothing to do with UFOs and aliens. And I mentioned to the guy standing with them, oh yeah, I saw a big black triangle recently. This must have been back in 15. And this scientist who works for many of these agencies, I'm not going to go into who he is or anything about him, but I'll tell you this, Dave, he looked at me dead in the eye, not a snicker on his face, nothing, just looked at me and said, ours or theirs? And I said, ours. He goes, yeah. And then he walked away. So, you know, it's like all these guys know we've got ours up there. We know that there's theirs up there. So what's the game they're playing with the Senate now? I can't figure this out. There's money missing. It's all gone to these black budget projects. We know that, has anybody seen the Skunk Works documentary on History Channel? Have you seen it yet, Dave?
I have not seen it.
Oh, my God. It is the best documentary I've seen in 15, 20 years. I swear to God, people have got to watch it. I can't remember the name of it. I've got to go look it up, but I'll do it on a break. But fabulous. Very, very fabulous. Maybe one of your people there in the chat could look it up for us. It's on History Channel. It's about the Skunk Works. And I'm telling you, in that documentary, they don't come out and say it, but I can tell by the way they laid out certain sentences and words that they were trying to tell us that these guys had come up with some amazing propulsion. And so, you know, I'm surprised the senators aren't read in on that, you know, because what was the guy's name? Kelly Johnson. He developed some amazing things with the stealth fighters and the planes and all that. Maybe they were just using that as their, the black budget money was going to all those planes out at Area 51. But I don't know. I still think with the Bob Lazar story breaking, and as big as that was, and Senator Harry Reid knowing about Bob Lazar, and he knows Bob Bigelow and all those guys, how is it that these guys all don't know what's going on with Bigelow Aerospace? That they've got all this alien metal, the meta metal, you know? I mean, it's just, it's too weird to me. I'm sorry. It sounds like a bunch of people. Yeah, go ahead.
Correction on the number. Thank Andrew in the chat room. 2.3 trillion went missing at 9/11. That's what I had thought it was too. 2.3 trillion.
Trillion?
Trillion. So I mean, it's 6.5 trillion yesterday.
Oh my God.
That's a lot of money.
That's a lot of money, you guys. You know, I drive down the street here in Northern California. Our infrastructure is just a mess. I mean, you guys, I don't know where you guys all live to listen to this show. I know in Canada it's beautiful, and you guys take care of your roads and your infrastructure and your buildings. I'm telling you, down here
you haven't driven Canadian roads then.
Well, I drove up to your place. My God, from the airport in Vancouver, that was a pretty good road. I didn't have a problem with it. Yeah, but I'm telling you, down here in the States, you guys, I mean, just think of Detroit City. There's nothing left there. It's a skeleton. There are neighborhoods and miles of houses boarded up. I mean, it's crazy. And our infrastructure, as far as the electrical grid down here, it's stupid. It's the stupidest thing I've ever seen. Everything needs to be underground. That's for starters. And I can't believe that, you know, we still have fires from transformers blowing up. You know, that should have stopped 30 years ago, and we still are dealing with these wires in the sky. I mean, it's dumb. It's 2020 almost, and we still have wires hanging around. I mean, I'm just flabbergasted at how many years behind where I thought we would be by now with the technology we have. It blows my mind. Our infrastructure is just crumbling. All of our roads are crumbling. Our bridges are. I mean, it's a mess, Dave. It's
you know what? It's everywhere right now. It really is. And
so,
I mean, coming up my road, and this has nothing to do with the UFO thing, but coming up my road, I mean, there are bigger potholes or lakes in this area than the potholes on my street. You know. So I mean, it's just the way. It's just the way it goes. It's just the way it goes.
I hit one of those things a while back, and I'm telling you, I had to go out and get my car realigned. It was so bad. But the reason I'm bringing this up is because you think of all the trillions and trillions of dollars that are missing. Well, we know they're not missing. We know exactly where they went. They went into our black ops. And so there you go. I mean, it's blatantly obvious. So why don't any of these senators know that? If it's so obvious to you and I, Dave, then how come they haven't figured this out yet? You know?
Well, I mean, let's face it, though. For so long, as we only got about 2 minutes before we go to break here at the bottom of the hour, for so long they have ignored the UFO topic. And they have taken this entire process and they have mimicked it. They have denied it. I mean, the one thing that I don't understand is everybody's cheering on former Senator Harry Reid from Nevada about championing the UFO cause. Harry, what were you doing for the public when you were in office? That's what I want to know. Why weren't you loud about this when you were in office? Why hasn't anybody asked him that question?
See, this is the other problem we've got. We've got all these guys that are senators, ex-CIA, ex-FBI, ex-NSA, ex-this, ex-that, and they're all jumping on board to do the plausible deniability because you can't have this going on within the government structure itself because, hey, the last thing you're going to get voted in is a study on how the UFOs are maneuvering in the sky when you've got a city like Detroit crumbling. Okay, the people of America have to go to the political institution we have in place right now and say, hey, look, why don't we do this? Why don't we take half that $6 trillion and you put it back into the infrastructure like you're supposed to? And instead of making all these black budget things, let us know what you're studying as far as UFOs, propulsion, alien technology, mind control, whatever it is you guys are up to. Let us know about it.
Give us the woo, government. Give us the woo.
Yeah, let us know the truth, and then we'll just be happy with, half of that to rebuild our country. Because I don't care.
I think it's everywhere. Yeah. I think it's everywhere. And, I don't want to steer this political too much because there's a lot of, we can go in so many different directions here with this and where that money could have gone. I mean, let's face it. What about veterans? What about hospitals? What about helping children with cancer? I mean, there's so many ways that money, that 6.5 trillion could be used for. And it happens up here in Canada. It happens everywhere, unfortunately. Lorien, I'm going to get you to hold on. Lorien Fenton is with us on Spaced Out Radio. We're talking UFOs. Everything about the topic, because it is red hot right now. Melinda Leslie is going to join us a little bit later in the show, so stay tuned for more Spaced Out Radio. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now. The Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Welcome back to the second half hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Glad to have each and every one of you with us. Big shout out to Gene in D.C. Thank you for listening, Gene. Give us a call sometime. We'd appreciate that. Also, want to remind you, if you've missed portions of this show and others, do me a favor. Go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. You can click on that subscribe button. That's what I appreciate. All the archives are there for you for free. Also, our website, spacedoutradio.com. The Gavinator's adding some new features very, very soon, so stay tuned. But you can go to our website, check out all of the news from the SOR Newswire, listen to the show, and much more. Tonight we are talking with Lorien Fenton and Melinda Leslie. It's a UFO night here on Spaced Out Radio because there's a lot of political shenanigans going on behind the scenes regarding this topic. What is real? What is going on? What do they know? This is important to figure out. Lorien, welcome back. We're going to have Melissa.
Well, thank you.
We're going to have Melinda, probably around 10:30, 11 o'clock Pacific tonight. So just stay tuned.
Oh, yeah,
everybody.
I do hope she gets on soon. I want her on at 10:30. I kept telling her, I said, take your clients and just throw them in the van and start driving.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's what I said.
But Melinda has probably one of the most successful UFO watches in Sedona, Arizona. So if you're ever traveling through, find out where her UFO sky watch is, take it in. She's out there almost every night there, and there's something like portals or something in that area that really create this UFO phenomena. So you want to check that out when you're going through. Now, right before the break, we were talking a little bit about the political side of ufology, which is what we are seeing right now in regards to this. Are you surprised, Melinda, that so many current politicians seem to be so unannounced to this phenomenon called UFOs, or do you think they know more, but they just aren't willing to admit it because of their political career?
Well, first of all, I'm flattered that you called me Melinda, but it's Lorien here.
I'm sorry, Lorien.
That's okay. Not a problem. I just want to make sure the audience knows that because I don't want them to think I'm Melinda, and I don't know. You'd be very hard pressed to, not know the difference between the two of us, but she is one of my best friends. So I got to say that just up front and, because she's much more elaborate on things than I am. So anyhow, yes, I've always wondered why these guys are not getting the full scoop, why they're just not being briefed in on anything, and why suddenly within the last year when the whole To the Stars Academy thing starts going full force, now suddenly they're all interested in this. It's, I don't know, but it really bothers me that, 20 years ago, they weren't asking these questions. But, Dave, maybe the reality is they do all along. We just don't know about it. And we're not supposed to know about it. I don't know anybody who's worked on Capitol Hill. And I just don't know the answers to that. If I was a Washington insider, I could probably tell you all right now, and this is just my guess, that these guys know a lot more than they're leading on that they know, and they have to act like they're kind of like, oh, getting informed for the first time. Maybe they're getting informed right now for the first time on a level they've never been informed before. That I wouldn't doubt at all. But I'm sure at some point, somewhere in the Senate, in the Congress, anywhere we would go in the United States as far as political climate goes, the last thing you're going to want to touch is UFOs with your constituency. You're not going to get up on a platform and say, when you're trying to get reelected, yeah, I'm going to look into those dang UFOs. I mean, it's been a taboo thing for forever. It doesn't mean they weren't read in. Okay. It's like the guys down in Texas all these years that kept saying, oh, I knew nothing about the JFK assassination, when there was select committee hearings, there was closed door hearings, there was all this stuff going on, and everybody knew everything, but nobody talked about it because they knew that our government had been probably behind it, and the last thing they wanted to do is lose their political life over talking about the fact that Lee Harvey Oswald was a patsy. So we're looking at the same thing here. We're looking at, I'm not going to talk about those darn UFOs because there goes my career, So now with it being, Captain Favor on CNN and To the Stars Academy, a bunch of ex-CIA spooks coming out and saying, oh yeah, there might be more to this than we all think. And it just kind of, it eases them into the spotlight so they can kind of say, well, folks, maybe there is something to all this. And you got to remember all those Christian Republicans and independents out there, they're really between a rock and a hard place. How do you approach this if you've got a state that's full of, it's 75% born again Christians? Right. How do you deal with that?
Well, I mean, this is a topic, though, that it doesn't matter what your political affiliation. It doesn't matter what your constituents are. This is something real that everybody is having to deal with. And I can see maybe some newer people up on the Hill being very ill-advised by this topic, but I want to switch here because the topic of ATIP, I've been doing a lot of perusing lately. Literally, if people don't know, okay, for those who don't know, I work a daytime job, but half my time on my daytime job, I'm actually doing this job. As weird as that sounds. And then when I get home, I try and scarf down some dinner, try to remember what my family looks like. I get right back on the phone, get into the studio while I'm on the phone, do the show, and usually, and Lorien can attest to this, because 3 times in the last 8 days, we've been talking from about midnight after the show until about 2 in the morning, just about this topic, trying to bring facts together. So and I've been talking to a lot of people about this. Here's my theory, and I'm going to put it out there after everything I have learned from talking to my sources. And I realize there's going to be a lot of people rolling their eye when I say my sources. But I want to get your opinion on this, Lorien. This is what I think of ATIP. I think that the United States government especially has been in contact with alien species. We know that since the Roswell incident.
Correct.
We do.
I agree.
Okay? But I think the entire ATIP program and the way they are talking about these UFOs potentially being some sort of threat is that these are from species that we have never heard of or heard from before. And it's weird because when I look at this, I kind of think of that scene in the first Men in Black movie where Will Smith and Tommy Lee Jones are walking through the office and the aliens are checking in for their vacation on Earth.
Yeah.
That's the way I see this is that these species haven't checked in, whomever they are.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why all of a sudden we're calling them threats. Because if they're not checking in, they got to be posed as that way. What's your thoughts? Am I off the woo factor here?
No, you're not.
Am I going
you're not
somewhere?
off the woo, because this is something I don't talk about much on my radio show either, and it's something I should start, because I'll tell you what, folks, I've got 3 friends that have, I can't tell you what they've done or they did or whatever. I really can't. I have been sworn to secrecy about a lot of things, but I will tell you this. They have given me permission to say this. They have been in contact with extraterrestrials who have told them, you don't have any clue about what's coming. And they said in the year 2022 to 2027, there's a 5-year window where the 3 different species have given us a year. One of them gave 2022, if I remember correctly. The other guy told me 2025, and I think the other one told me 2027, okay? Now, they're not that far apart. It's only a 5-year span where these 3 different species have told us, we got problems coming, and if we don't get our act together as far as using the right technology that they're giving us to build certain specific, oh God, can I say this? I'm going to say it. It's a type of laser technology that is nothing like what we're doing, but it is based on laser technology, okay? And if we don't build these kind of weapons and do what we need to do, we're going to be wiped out as a species. It's that simple. These guys are not warm and fuzzy. They're not even the grays where they're just trying to make babies, space babies. We don't have any of that relationship with them. They've never been here before, and they are nasty. And this is all I've been hearing, okay? I try not to think about it because I've known about this for over 20, 25 years now. And the first person I heard it from, I thought, oh my God, he's just trying to freak me out, and I just let it go, cognitive dissonance. I didn't want to know about the horrid aliens at all. I mean, I can barely handle the grays, doing what they do to my friends and the hybrid situation and all that. When I hear this, I just kind of flip out. So then again, about 10 years ago, I heard it from somebody else, and I think he was the 2022 guy. The first guy was 2025, and this just recently, within the last, was it 8 or 9 months, I got a 2027 date, and the same type of being, just horrible, just wipe us out, kill us all. It's not pretty, you guys. And the way that one of these guys described how it's done, oh my God, it's really nasty. So I try not to think about it. And as I told Dave on the break, I said, I pray to God that we're able to change our timeline and get away from whoever these guys are, or be able to defend ourselves. So maybe the ATIP program has some legs, David. I don't know.
Well, that's the only reason why I keep hearing this word, that says that these aliens are bad. They're malevolent. They're here to take us over. And that's the only thing that makes sense to me, because if you take Dr. Edgar Mitchell's statistics,
right,
which shows that 84% of all contactees or abductees have had a positive experience, and 81% would like to have another experience like that again, it doesn't match well with those who are talking about this in the government, from whether it's TTSA, whether it's government officials, whether it's Navy pilots, we don't know.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, we don't know, and that's a scary place to be, because, why, here's something that I think that Ray Hernandez and Free should be doing now. I think they should be in helping the Senate and helping these people and helping To the Stars or whoever, or ATIP or who's ever running the show for the government. What they should be now doing is going to those 4,000 people who answered that survey, or the surveys. They actually did 3 surveys, who answered the surveys, and say to them, would you please go back to your aliens and ask them if we're in trouble, if there's anything coming our way, and start communicating with them on a two-way street. See, this is where I have the biggest problem with the whole UFO community, Dave. This is my big bugaboo. Is why aren't we, as a group of people, sitting around telling each other, this is what they told me, this is what I need to ask them, and giving each other questions to ask our aliens. It should be a two-way street. We need to get better at communicating with them instead of being controlled by them. And we need to stand up. If you're chosen to have an experience like that, it's a responsibility not to be afraid. It's your responsibility to stand up to these guys and say, hey, look, you're coming to me, you're doing stuff to me, and yes, I know you're paralyzing me and this and blah, 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 but hey, look, I got questions. It has to do with our species. I need answers, and I need them now. I mean, we're at a point now where this has got to start happening. We can't just keep being at mercy with these guys. And I can guarantee you this, folks, the government figured that out 40 years ago, and they have had constant communication with the ETs as best they can. Now, there is one part to that I find very fascinating, though, is everybody that has claimed, and I'm putting my hands in the air making the quote claim sign, that has had, like Dan Bursch, I mean, the list goes on and on about people who said, yes, I've sat in front of an alien through the military. Clifford Stone's one of them. I mean, the list goes on and on. Lynn Buchanan, forever. I mean, we got tons of people, right? The biggest problem with our government is that they've said that these aliens are lying to them. So if they've come to that conclusion, and this is the scuttlebutt throughout the Department of Defense, is you can't trust an alien to tell you the truth, then maybe they're lying about this species coming to kill us. Or maybe they're telling us the absolute truth about it. How do we know? I mean, this is a scary place to be. So this, I'm coming full circle back around to the senators being debriefed. It has everything to do with them being debriefed because we're in a real quandary here. We don't know if they're telling us the truth. We don't know if there's anything coming. We could be killed tomorrow. I mean, I have no idea. It could be just like childhood's end. They could come down, and instead of waiting 100 years to get rid of us, they do it, in a night. I don't know. But yeah. I mean, I think the only answer we got, Dave, is that 4,000 people that have admitted to free that they have had contact, make sure they start having contact with those aliens that are friendly to them and say, look, I got to know, are we in trouble? Are we going to be murdered? Is that why you're here making space babies with me? Is it because we're not going to be in existence in 50 years? We're all going to be eaten, whatever it may be. And get some truth out of these guys. If 4,000 people are asking, maybe we'll get a consensus. So I don't know. I know it's a strange topic to be discussing, but
okay. Well, let me ask you this then, because the one thing that we do know is there's a couple things that sell: fear sells and sex sells, and this definitely isn't sexy. So it's
not
fear.
If they're coming to eat us.
But what I'm saying is, since we don't know what's going on, this whole fear factor, some may call it mongering, that's coming along, is there actual worry from the people you have talked to in regards to this, or is this being blown out of proportion to try and increase a defense budget?
No, the three people I've talked to that have been involved with all this stuff are actually afraid. They are truly afraid. They are trying their best not to be. As one of them told me, he says, hey, I don't know if the gray told me the truth. I really don't know, but it sure felt like it. And they did say that they've got ways for us to combat them. So, maybe that's the deal. Maybe they actually did give, like Bob Bigelow's crowd, the answer to combat these things. And maybe those $6.5 trillion is being run out there right now to be, to be able to build defense budget and get ready for them coming. And maybe they're just, that's how they're doing it with the senators. They're saying, look, they could collide with our airplanes. Okay. That's a great way to keep the senators still in the dark, but actually afraid of them enough to give money, actual real money instead of black budget money. And another maybe $6.5 trillion of legit, like, oh my God, yeah, what if they hit our planes and start killing everybody accidentally, so that they can cover up the fact that they know there is an invasion coming.
Should the daily citizen out there be concerned? Because even though, okay, and I will say this, the one thing I know about the television show Unidentified is it's not about trying to convince people in ufology. It's about trying to convince people who have an interest in this topic, who know nothing about this subject. It's about trying to increase the knowledge that people have that this phenomena is real.
Right, absolutely.
We got about 3.5 minutes, just so you know.
Well,
go ahead.
Okay. So we've got Unidentified, we've got Ancient Aliens, we've got all these shows out there trying to convince people that, yes, as an ancient alien theorist, I'm telling you, there must have been aliens here, right? Okay. Or Unidentified, where it's like, we did see it, it was proven, it was a Department of Defense, operation, and it was there. We have all these, trained witnesses. Okay. So yeah, I get that. That's wonderful. But, you can't, people can take it in, and then they drink their beer while they're watching it, or they do whatever they do, and they take it all in. And now their mind has been reprogrammed to believe this is real. Okay. But it's not real in the sense that it's like the car parked in the driveway. I tell people this all the time. You can be brainwashed into it through the television set so that it's real, but it's not real until that alien's standing in the room. And I use the prime example of the movie with Mel Gibson. Gosh, what was the name of it? I can't remember. But the whole movie. Signs. The whole movie, they're getting warnings from the wife, the daughter, all this stuff about these aliens are here, right? But no one really believed it until they're standing right in the room with them, okay? They knew they were there. They in the beginning they were afraid and what have you, but then when it's standing there, then it's like the reality sets in instantly. And I tell people this all the time. You can believe it and it can be fun, but you got to get up and go to work the next day. So it's a completely different thing than, oh God, I want to say World War II, where, there was a very, definite threat that they could be over here and they could bomb our cities and kill our people. And people nowadays have not had people in America and Canada haven't had anybody on their soil to hurt them in such a long time that we've forgotten that people can do this, but aliens could probably do it too. It's just, yeah, you can convince people there's aliens by the television set, but until they're actually in their driveway, they're not going to believe it anyhow. That's my answer to what you asked me. It's that simple for me. And I just think people have got to wake up and understand that it is real and get ready for what could be coming. I don't know. It's a tough thing to talk about, because if they really are coming here to hurt us, I don't know if there's anything we can really do, Dave. I
don't know either, but it is coming into this reality. And that's why I really do believe, as we get to go to break here in about 30 seconds, I do believe that there needs to be some accountability on this. You can't fearmonger aliens. That is one thing you cannot do. You know what I'm saying?
I do, and I'm laughing because you're right. You're absolutely right about that. You can't sit around and fearmonger, but
that's really not cool. Let's just be honest. It's not cool. You can't fearmonger aliens, because if they are real, which many of us believe they are, this leads to an entire effect to the entire world. And we'll get into that and more with Lorien Fenton, Melinda Leslie coming up as well, hopefully at the bottom of the hour. We're going to get into a lot more UFO talk tonight with these wonderful research ladies. More Spaced Out Radio in hour 2 right after this.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio, where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR, where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com, where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com, and remember, Little Brother is watching.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com. Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime. The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacey, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
You hear footsteps in the empty room above you. A rocking chair begins rocking by itself. Don't be afraid of the things that go bump in the night. Reach for Spirit Storybox, the iPhone app the Huffington Post UK called the only ghost hunting app you will ever need. Spirit Storybox. The spirits are telling their stories. Are you listening?
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
You're listening to Spaced Out Radio with Dave Scott. Follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio and on Facebook, Spaced Out Radio Show.
Welcome back to the second hour of Spaced Out Radio. Tonight, I am your host, Dave Scott. Thank you so much for being with us. Tomorrow night on the show, David Spinks tells us some spooky tales from the paranormal world. 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on our terrestrial affiliates, KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, WQEE 99.1 FM in Noonan, Georgia, KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, and down in Dangerfield, Texas, KDNF AM 1560. On the digital side, hi to everyone listening in on Revolution Radio. Great to have you with us. Remember, all of our archives are free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nathanize. Nathanize is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets the password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where you can catch our SOR Newswire. The Gavinator has more features coming up in the next few weeks, so stay tuned, check it often. Lorien Fenton is with us tonight from the Fenton Perspective, and Melinda Leslie will be joining us a little bit later on in the show. She is currently doing a Skywatch down in Sedona, Arizona. We're talking UFOs tonight. Lorien, welcome back to the show.
Well, thank you. Yeah, we've had a pretty interesting discussion on where all that money's going. I got to tell you, Dave, I thought about it during the break, and I'm really having been a diehard researcher in the JFK community and the UFO community and even in the paranormal community quite a bit. I used to do things I haven't even told you about. I used to go out and bless houses with a couple of our friends of mine that were ministers, and they also were paranormal ministers. And I mean, it's just, I've done some really wild stuff, but I gotta say, the one most important thing to me has always been the disclosure of the fact that UFOs are real. And now that it's coming to it's starting to happen, I'm like, is this really how I expected it to be? You know, it's just, it's happening in a weird kind of clandestine, like very disorganized and very psyops way to me. And I wanted to ask you quickly before we moved on to another topic, what do you think about that? Because I sit here and I go, who's really running this show? Who's going to let us know the truth, and what kind of truth are they going to give us? It's not that we, you know, your people are very smart. My people who listen to my show are extremely smart too. And so the whole thing you've got here is you got a whole lot of people that know it's real, but what is this path?
One thing to admit UFOs and aliens are real. It's another thing to admit that we've been in contact for 70 plus years, because there's a lot of secrets. And I believe strongly that's what needs to be covered up. It's kind of like when we hear about the Roswell crash, we never hear people talking about San Augustine.
Oh,
the
that's
second
true.
crash that happened. All right. And I laugh at all these experts. And I know there's someone out there. Oh, there was a recent Roswell show, and I was talking to Chris Cogswell about it because one of his buddies is on there. And he's like, come on, my buddy is kind of brilliant and everything like that. I said, if he's so brilliant, I said, I will give him a break on one thing. I said, ask him about San Augustine. Just say, hey, what do you know about San Augustine? If he says what? If he goes, what's San Augustine? I said, then you know he's full of crap about all his Roswell research.
Which reminds me, have you ever had Harry Drew on the show?
No.
Oh, you've got to have Harry on. Harry was the first guy that ever really did some amazing work on the second crash site and a third crash site that most people don't even know about. And I've known Harry for years. Yeah, we'll get him on here for you. He's wonderful. So, okay,
absolutely.
Anyhow.
So I think it's about the secrets that have been covered up the past years, okay? And this actually leads to one of our topics, because one of the big woo factors in ufology that all of a sudden the last couple of weeks people are talking about, Lorien, is Disclosure 2020. And the reason why they're talking Disclosure 2020 is not because of the year, but it's the 65th anniversary of the highly alleged Eisenhower-Greada Treaty, where then President Eisenhower at Holloman Air Force Base, which I believe is now Edwards Air Force Base,
right, correct,
met with extraterrestrials and traded humans for technology. Now, there's always been a laughable debate about this topic, whether or not it actually happened, because the official statement was that Eisenhower disappeared during the night while he was on the West Coast because he had to have emergency dental surgery. But there are those who have come out and said, no, he actually went to Holloman Air Force Base to meet with extraterrestrials. I mean, Eisenhower disappearing, there were people who thought he had a heart attack or a stroke and died. That's how real it was. The press didn't know what was going on.
This is Grant's whole, this was the beginning of why Grant ever got into this in the first place. Grant Cameron is because of that story. Remember? So, well, not the beginning, but because he had a lot of other things happen. But when he started his whole White House UFO, seeking, it was because of that Holloman story. And from Grant's perspective, it's absolutely true. And he's done more research into it than anybody I've ever met in my entire life. And I believe him. I really do. And I think it did happen. I think there was some kind of exchange. There's supposedly films out there that show the exchange of, at least the verbal exchange. And I absolutely believe that is a true deal. And 65 years and Disclosure 2020. Well, I laugh at Disclosure 2020 because I've been hearing Disclosure since, the mid-90s. So maybe it's just because of technology and social media. We're getting this like every year it's going to happen. But let me tell you guys a quick story. I've got a friend out there in the UFO community that I've known for 10 years now. He sold the rights to his story to a movie company. And they paid him a lump sum, and they said, you'll get the rest of it when we make the movie. It's all going to happen, blah, blah, blah. And in the meantime, you can't go to conferences. You can, we'll tell you if you can go on a radio show. We'll do this, we'll do that. And guess what? We're going to make this right away. And I told him, I said, oh my God, I can't believe you did this, because this is their way to shut you down. This is the way to make sure disclosure never happens in the right way in Hollywood, is they buy up everybody's true story about benevolent or malevolent, ET contact, and then they never produce it so anybody sees the real truth of what's happening with the contactees. And I'm sorry, folks, but it's just, he kept saying, oh, this movie's going to be the disclosure movie of the decade, and I'm like, yeah, but they'll never make it. It's their way of controlling them. So, disclosure what? I mean, I'm just waiting for the next shoe to drop. The only thing that's going to impress me when you say the words disclosure is I want to see an alien standing by the president at the podium in the Rose Garden. Seriously. That's the only thing that I would consider disclosure, because we've had disclosure. It's been going on for 35, 40 years now. It's been going on since Roswell. So that's my take on it, and I'm very jaded. Like I said at the beginning of the show, I've been doing this 40 some odd years. I'm jaded, I'm waiting for the real truth to come out. And I'm tired of them spending our money on black budget projects without telling us where it's going, So that's my take on it, Dave.
Well, in regards to the whole Eisenhower meeting, allegedly, is there any way that this information could actually get out? And the reason why I ask that is because I think, and of course this is just my opinion, if it ever came out that he traded humans for technology, there's a lot of missing people that the government may know about, or that deep state government may know about, that's going to cause a lot of concern, and it's going to cause a lot of trouble.
That's why there's not going to be disclosure 2020s, because if all this stuff starts coming out, it's going to make the American people, the Canadian, it's going to make the people of the world furious that we've been hidden. This has all been hidden from us. Okay, so they're never going to tell us now, and I've been telling everybody this for so long. It's a slow drip disclosure. You know who their playbook is? It's Arthur C. Clarke's Childhood's End, where the alien parks over the major cities in the world for 100 years and does nothing. So that 5 generations of people are born underneath these ships, and they just think they're there. They don't know that there's anything in them. They've been told there's somebody in there communicating with our leaders, but nothing's happening. No one's being killed. No one's being dead. No one's getting money. I mean, nothing's changing in their lives. And this is what I think is going to happen. We're going to get this slow drip to the point where they're going to it'll be 40 or 50 years from now, and no one's going to care that Eisenhower was on the tarmac with an ET. No one's going to give a rat's. They're just going to laugh. They're not going to care. It won't matter. Our government in 50 years to 100 years from now is going to be completely overhauled. It has to be. There's no way we can keep going the way we're going anyhow. So things are going to change drastically. And you got to remember, we can rewrite history. In 50 years, there's going to be none of you and I and people that even remember who Eisenhower was or care. So, I mean, this is just my opinion. I really think these guys, the CIA, the Black Ops, subcommittees that get this money and use it for, going to the skunk works or wherever the hell it goes. And, all this is just going to be long forgotten old news and no one's going to care. I mean, that's my opinion. And I'm very jaded. So sorry, folks. You're getting the jaded side of Lorien tonight. But yeah, that's what I believe is happening here. And my friend's story of his movie that never gets made, he's a prime example of what they're doing. And he's not my only friend who's had a movie made where they've squelched it or they don't want people to know about it. I mean, if any of you have ever watched Extraordinary, the Stan Romanek story, I mean, people go, oh, that's all fake. It is not fake. I'm telling you, everything that happened in that house, it was absolutely real. And Stan never faked anything. And I got to give Stan credit for this. Stan is not your most, I mean, he could never build an alien head to pop up in a window. Okay, folks, he just couldn't do it. He's not that kind of guy. He, he's a sweet man. He's a great man. He tried to take care of his family and his wife and everything as best he could until they started harassing him and ruined his life completely. But that was the one thing that he did that made them so angry. Was he actually made a movie, and he got the aliens in the movie, and trust me, folks, they were never able to, find anybody, not a contactee on this planet right now that's ain't been able to get that kind of movie made. And so Stan got it made, and then they called him on the phone. I'll never forget it. He calls me and he says, I'm in trouble, because he was supposed to be at my conference that year. It was 2014 or 14, I think. Yeah. And he says, the movie's done, and Lorien, I can't come and be at your conference because I have to go to Florida to premiere the movie. And I said, okay, great. He goes, but I'm in trouble. He goes, I got a phone call the other day, and they told me once that movie's out, it's never going to see the light of day. You're lucky it's going to play in one theater, and then after that, you're basically dead meat, is what they told him. And he was. I mean, from that moment on, after the day after that film aired, his life became a living hell from these guys. So you guys got to remember something. They may be out there giving us disclosure bit by bit, but if you're giving out the disclosure, you might as well just, hang yourself, because they're coming for you. And that's the way they've been all along. They do not like people out there honing in on their game. And if you start, you either get controlled or you get snuffed. There's only two ways to play this game. So it's a slow drip. It's a 50-year disclosure. It's not going to happen overnight. And I'm sorry, folks, but that's just the way I believe it's going to happen. Because of what I've seen in 20 years, it's playing out that way already. Because, 20 years ago, I thought we were going to have disclosure. And I think Steve Bassett thought 20 years ago we were going to have disclosure, too. Hey, by the way, have you had Steve on lately?
I have not had him on lately.
You got to have him on. He's got new talking points.
No, he does not. Steve Bassett, I love the guy. But no, he does not. Come on.
Well, he's really thinking that the A-Tip guys and I'm sorry, To the Stars guys are really going to get it out there for us. So I love hearing his optimism.
This leads to Renee's question, Lorien, in the chat room. She says, honestly, do we really care now? We are so sick of the lies and the backstabbing. Anything they tell us or show us, we will think it's still lies. And that's the attitude of a lot of people out there. They just don't care of the importance of this story.
Yeah. Well, now, is Renee talking about the true believers, or are we talking about the people who don't know anything about it at all?
I think she would be talking about the government officials who are still spinning the web, so to speak.
Oh, yeah. No, we're sick of it. If she's talking about us as a UFO community, I'm totally sick of it. That's like I've been saying all along tonight in the show. I'm jaded. I'm done with them. I could care less about disclosure, because I had disclosure when I was, 18 months old. So I've already had mine. And that's going back to the personal experience part of this, folks. This is what really matters, is if you've had that personal experience, it's real. There's no question. From that point on, the government and what they're doing, it doesn't really even matter. And that's a scary thing to them. Let me explain something to everybody. They hate it when we get together as groups. Like when I have my MUFON group, where I have a conference where there's 300 people there, and 89% of those people are all contactees, and I have like 75% of my speakers are contactees. They can't stand it. They can't control it. They don't know what we're going to do as a group. What if we ever decided as a group to sit down and call in the ships, and we had a whole landing in San Francisco just because we suddenly said, oh my God, you know what? There's 89 people sitting in this room and we're all contactees. What could we do if we put our minds together? You know? That freaks them out more than anything, is that what happens when we wake up and we're not fractured? What if we all band together? That's why I say Free needs to get those 4,000 people together and start giving them kind of guidelines on how to communicate with these guys so that we're running the show, not the CIA, on disclosure. We could do it. If we could figure out a way to communicate with them and get it back into a semblance of human understanding. The biggest problem we've got is that a lot of times they'll give you broad stroke consciousness knowledge that's very hard to put into human words. And that's a tough thing. You know, it's really tough. Hey, I'm buzzing here. Maybe Melinda's back. I mean, look.
Well, we got about 3 minutes here before we go to break. I'm going to get you to hold on because Donna has a question here.
Okay.
She's saying, I'm 67 years old, and I've been waiting since I was 5 for the government to fess up. Why is it important for anyone to have disclosure at this point?
Yeah. Well, I agree with Donna. I actually agree with her, but we do need it, and we need it fast, and we need the truth. We don't need their pablum that they're dishing out like, oh yeah, there's this thing flying around at 28,000 miles an hour dropping out of the sky, but nobody's in control of it. You know, I mean, really? I mean, I couldn't even believe I was hearing that when I heard it. It's like, we're not going to talk about whether it's got anybody controlling it or not. I'm like, oh yeah, really? But no, she's absolutely right. You know, it's like, who really cares? But Donna's got to understand something. There are a lot of people out there that don't know it's real. They need to know it is real, and they need to start getting an education about it, and it should be taught in school. Absolutely taught in school about consciousness, UFOs, paranormal experiences, ghosts, all kinds of things, other dimensions. It should become a class so that everybody, that at least in the United States or the world, if they start teaching this class, everybody gets a paranormal type of introduction. So they, at least if something happens to them, they don't freak out about it, and it becomes a lifelong goal or a mission, and it ruins their human life. There's one thing I got to say about my aliens. Whoever it is that contacts me, they literally told me this. They said, don't ever not have a job. They didn't say it like that, but I knew exactly what they meant. They put this thing into my head that was just, don't ever not work. Don't ever not take care of yourself. Don't ever not be responsible for yourself. And I got it. And I've never had a problem. You know, I've been contacted. I've had ghosts stand in front of me. I've had people die. I mean, you guys, I've been through a lot. But I always get up the next day and go to work. And people just go, how can you do this? I go, because they told me that if I didn't, I wouldn't be able to be here on the show with Dave right now telling you guys that it's really important that you accept their existence and make it part of yours. That's the real bottom line to all this. And the government knows it, and they know that if we all did that, we would have a two-way street going with these guys, and we wouldn't need them to babysit us and tell us, oh, there's a little tic-tac floating around the sky. Okay, that's the bottom line here. So I hope Donna got that. I mean, it's really, and I can tell she's a contactee. So, you know, she knows what's going on. So now it's time to, you know, help other people understand it's real. Oh, how much time do we have left?
We got about 25 seconds.
Okay, I'm going to be speaking at the Napa Library on July 9th, and I got a note from the girl today. She said, Lorien, I can't believe that I actually asked you to do this. There are more people coming to your talk than we've had interest in anything here forever.
Nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Unbelievable. UFOs are really a hot topic. So, yeah, I guess I am kind of excited in one way.
We're going to get into it right there. Lorien, you hold on, because coming up in the next half hour, we're bringing Melinda Leslie in as well. I got a couple of big questions to ask Melinda about the timeline, her relationship with a member of the TTSA, Bob Bigelow, and so much more coming up here on Spaced Out Radio. And Lorien's sticking with us, too. Be right back. Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch.
Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch? Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized Escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio. You can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We pass the halfway point of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott, sitting in the captain's chair of SOR headquarters. Great to have all of you with us. Reminder that if you've missed portions of this show or others, do me a favor. Just go to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Hit that subscribe button. It's all free for you. And our website is spacedoutradio.com. Currently, we have the SOR Newswire up there, put together by Captain Shirk. The Gavinator is working on new tabs and information for you in the next few weeks. So just keep checking our site. You can listen to the show there live as well. Tonight we are talking with Lorien Fenton about UFOs, and we're glad to be introducing Melinda Leslie to all of you. Melinda is a famed UFO researcher. She has one of the most popular tours for UFO sky watches down in Sedona, Arizona, where she was tonight. Tour number 1050 for Melinda tonight. Melinda Leslie, I want to say hello to you. How have you been?
Doing good, thank you. I'm driving home. Clients are kind of following me, but I told them when I get into town, I'm going to turn off where I live, and they're on their own. But tonight they followed me out there, and as soon as we were done, I called in. So I'm actually driving home, like you said, from tour number 1050, and we had remarkable sightings tonight. We had two doubles, two things flying in unison together twice. Actually, maybe even a third one, but the two for sure. We had a crazy fast zigzag one. We had giant amber lights. We flashed at things with the laser. We had incredible responses with things flashing back tonight. No, it was a great tour. I mean, and all that's an average tour for me. All that kind of stuff is average.
Well, that's nice. Lorien, welcome back as well.
Well, thank you. You know, it's interesting what Melinda just said about she has these great tours and you get flashing lights back and we see doubles and triangles, and her and I have been, you know, because I help her out whenever I can, and I've seen extraordinary stuff with Melinda. I mean, Melinda, remember we had the 3 fast walkers down at Contact 2 or 3 years ago? Then we had the big ship with the low flying ship.
The big U-shaped low-flying ship with 2 giant red lights on it. It was a big U-shaped object with 2 big red lights on it, and first one military jet and then another one from another angle came in and chased it. Yeah. And really low, right over us. I mean, like probably easily. I mean, when I say low over us, I mean less than 400 feet above us, because they skimmed a hill that we knew. We looked up on a topographical map, and that hill was only 250 feet tall. So we figured these, you know, at least one of the military jets and the craft itself were probably, you know, just skimming over that hill, like you know, maybe 400 feet up at the most. I mean, right on top of us. I mean, it was, and the jet was loud. I mean, like you're covering your ears. It was like roar, you know. Anyways, you guys, I pulled out in front of my house, so I'm going to start making my way inside. We'll keep talking. If we cut out, you can call me back, obviously.
Well, Linda, why don't you go ahead and do what you're doing, and I'll continue on with what's happened since that sighting. There's a gentleman in the field that's also a good friend of Melinda's and ours named Ben.
Okay, I shut off the car. You guys can hear me?
Yeah.
We got you.
Okay, I shut off the car so we didn't lose any connection, and all I got to do is walk inside. So there we go.
Wonderful. Hey, Melinda, what's Ben's last name? I can't remember
whose last name?
Ben.
Ben Hansen?
Ben Hansen. Ben Hansen interviewed...
I'm like, what? Yeah.
Ben Hansen interviewed Melinda, myself, Misha Johnston, and Tana Newberry, because we were all kind of... Melinda was the leader of the pack, and then the 3 of us were helping her. And we saw this extraordinary sighting, like I was just saying, and they've actually got...
Well, not just you guys. We were 63 total people out there having that sighting.
Exactly. And they got film footage of it, right, Melinda? Tell them about it.
Yeah, yeah. A guy named Graham out on my special event deal that night out at Giant Rock, and there were 63 of us. Well, he had a really low quality, what am I trying to say? He had a low quality black and white night vision camera. So it was like a Gen 2 black and white night vision, so not great quality, but enough that he clearly caught it. And even in black and white, no sound. You know, we were all hooping and hollering, 63 people yelling and screaming. The jet was just like, you know, really. You know, what did that sound like?
It was really something.
You know what I mean? Really loud and right over us. And because his video camera was just video, didn't catch sound. So you had, the image was in black and white with no sound, so it missed some of the drama, but you can clearly see the military jet going right over us, chasing the craft. The jet has afterburners on going full speed. The craft slowly pulls out in front and starts, growing in distance ahead of the, getting out way ahead of the military jet. And all of a sudden, after they flew for quite a long ways, just full speed, all of a sudden the object said like, oh, I'm bored, and just shot up like a ball and took off. Yeah. Like, I'm done toying with you. I'm out of here. Yeah.
It was pretty wild, Dave. And I'll tell you, Ben Hansen interviewed the 4 of us at a conference, and he is going to be featuring this sighting, I think, on one of his new TV shows. Is that correct, Melinda?
Possibly, because he's marketing some TV shows, but he's giving a presentation at, my understanding is, besides doing the Skywatch for the International UFO Congress this year, his conference, Alejandro and Karen Baird, and I should have to say Alejandro Rojas and Karen Baird at their conference, I believe he's giving a presentation there where he's going to show part of our interview, if I remember correctly, unless he already did out at Contact in the Desert. So he may have already shown it
at Contact in the Desert.
Right.
Cool.
And yeah.
Okay. Melinda, one of the topics we were going to get into with Lorien here, because we weren't sure if you were going to be here at the top of the hour or not, was the fact about Bob Bigelow. Okay.
Yep.
There is a lot of debate right now, and it's funny because when To the Stars Academy came out, Bigelow's name rarely came up. We were mentioning it a lot on this show, but it rarely came up. Now, all of a sudden, that everything is starting to hit Washington, D.C. regarding this. Now we're starting to hear Bigelow's name and what's his involvement, what's his role in all this. It's like we're expecting something to come in about Bob Bigelow. What do we know about the billionaire hotel magnate out of Las Vegas who is very close to George Knapp, extremely close to Harry Reid, and literally has always been a mysterious face on the field of ufology?
Well, he has a lot of past involvement with, something that you had originally asked me to come on this show about, which was the history of the working group. I just came upstairs real fast, so I admit it, I'm puffing a little. I have a giant staircase up to my front door. And I'm getting a cord here so I can charge up my phone a little bit. And so anyway, whoops, don't break stuff. Hang on, sorry. And so he has been involved with that. He, through his involvement with that, and started NIDS, National Institute of Discovery Science, and he's the owner of, obviously, Bigelow Aerospace. Lorien and I went to the SSE conference, which is the Society for Scientific Exploration conference. But part of that was in Vegas about a year and a half ago. And part of that conference was we got to tour Bigelow Aerospace, and we saw all the projects and everything that he was working on with these inflatable spacecraft that can be taken up in like a missile container, if you will, up into space and then released and filled with air and turned into giant, science and exploration spacecraft. And they've already set one up and had it attached to the International Space Station, and very successfully. It turns out it ended up being used for storage, right, Lorien? That's what they told us.
Yeah, it was. And what they're more like is like a pod. They're like, they look kind of like a Chinese lantern, a paper lantern.
Yes, that's right.
And then they kind of fill up. They're expandable. They fill up with air, and they're like, you could add a whole bunch of pods on. You'd have a little hotel.
Yeah, exactly. And at one time they were thinking about tourism in space. I think now they're doing it as exploration. The one that was sent up, we were told, was used for storage, but it was successful. And so they have more missions coming up. And, they had some of these units and cutaways of them at the facility that they took us in and showed. And some of them have full living quarters and whatnot in them. I mean, it's not luxurious. It's like camping in space, I mean, you slept in a net, but anyway, so, it was very, very interesting. So, but he goes back to being very interested. He's had his own personal UFO sightings in life, very interested in the subject, and he ended up being very involved with funding various projects in the UFO field, even way before getting involved with NIDS and starting up that. And NIDS is, again, National Institute for Discovery Science. Yes.
Melinda, don't forget, he funded Art Bell to get him started with the Linda Moulton Howe and was it Greer? I can't remember who
George
the third
Knapp.
person. George Knapp. That's right. Thank you.
Yeah, he started that. It was called Area 2000, the precursor show to what became
Coast to Coast.
Long before Coast to Coast. It actually changed names a couple of times before Coast to Coast.
It was Dreamland after it was Area
Dreamland.
50.
Yeah, Dreamland.
That's right.
Yeah, it was Area 2000, then it was Dreamland, and then it was Coast to Coast. And so the very early show, and that was funded by him. He also funded some research that was being done by Bob Lazar. and some other things. So, and then eventually, got involved even with an interest in abduction-related research. But like I said, he started up NIDS, and but all of that was a particular group of people that my research partner and I, Randy Kopag, had researched for years. That was known as the working group, or better yet, the Advanced Theoretical Physics Working Group, and they, or the AP Working Group, Advanced Physics Working Group, and is a short name. And they ended up joining up with them. Like I said, then NIDS was created. A lot of people came and left from NIDS over the years, but eventually, like I said, it ended up funding a lot of different research projects, and NIDS was the precursor to what became BAS. A lot of people theorize, including myself, that it just kind of changed names, but it morphed into what we know as Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies, or Advanced Space Science. I'm forgetting if it's Bigelow Aerospace Advanced Space Studies or Advanced Space Science, I think it is, and which was BAS. And then, of course, BAS, if you followed the story, became OSAP and became ATIP, and now To the Stars, et cetera. So there's a direct correlation with these things overlapping with each other and developing over the years. Lorien knows I did a presentation for her at her major conference a year and a half ago called UFO Con, where I gave a complete presentation on the 40-year history of this group.
That was a wonderful presentation, by the way.
Yeah, thank you.
Oh, let me interrupt both of you really quickly. Melinda did an update to this presentation for me last August, almost a year ago.
I was about to say that. Thank you, Lorien.
Yes, and you can watch it for free because I love my Melinda, and I told her I wasn't going to charge for this. And it's up
I twisted her arm.
Yeah, you did, didn't you? It's up on MUFONMarinSonoma.com. I'll spell that for you guys once real quickly here. It's MUFON, Mutual UFO Network, MUFON, Marin, MARIN, Sonoma, SONOMA.com, MUFONMarinSonoma.com, and you go over to the on-demand or the store section of there, and you can see Melinda's presentation in its entirety, and take your time. Do it slowly. It's a lot of information. I would highly recommend that you get a notepad out and start taking notes, too, while you're watching it. So there you go.
You know what?
Go ahead, Melinda.
We got about 5.5 minutes here before we got to go to break. At the top of the hour, Melinda Leslie and Lorien Fenton are our guests tonight. In regards to Bob Bigelow, are we looking at a man who is controlling the strings on all of this now? Because there's a lot of people who believe that this has his fingerprints all over it. There's many people who believe that Tom DeLonge is the one who started TTSA, but if you look at that group, everybody outside of DeLonge has a connection to one of Bigelow's groups. And I don't see how DeLonge says he handpicked this team when they've been together for so many years, some as many as 30, 40 years. Lorien, your thoughts?
I'm laughing. I can't believe that anybody would think that Tom DeLonge actually picked a team. Okay, I'm sorry. It's just too funny to me. No, Tom DeLonge didn't do anything. Tom DeLonge, in my opinion, I'm sorry to say this, folks, is the useful idiot in the crowd, and they saw him coming, and they said, good, we can get some younger people, and we can get some more people interested that would not have been interested that are into musicians, and yeah, let's just use this guy. And that's what they did. And so now, and I was telling Melinda about this the other day, I was laughing so hard. You watch the Unidentified show, and he was in it for a fraction of a second, I think, in the first episode where they're interviewing Kevin Day, and he says one question, I think, and the rest of the time his mouth is closed, and he's literally in the whole show for approximately 4 to 5 minutes, and he wasn't in the second one at all. So I'm kind of like, well, there you go. I mean, he may not be in the rest of the series as far as I can tell. I'm sorry to say, folks, I'm not impressed by the man. Thank God they had somebody like that to deal with, that was not as bright as the bulbs around him, to kind of be that person, that entertainment person to start it all out for him. And that's great. And I'm glad he did it. But I think he should get himself away from them as fast as he can, because it's not doing him any favors to be seen with these guys, whether he realizes it or not. Anyhow, my opinion. Melinda,
your thoughts? We got about 3 minutes.
Is she still there?
I wonder if she put her phone on mute accidentally, because we're showing that she's connected.
Okay, can you guys hear me now?
Yes.
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hello?
we got you. We got you.
Can you hear me now? Okay.
Yes.
I think by accident I hit mute. I kept trying to say something earlier, and I thought they're not hearing me, and but I didn't do it on purpose. I think I just hit the button.
That's
so anyway,
okay.
We're good now. Okay, so Lorien, I might disagree with you a little bit there. I know we're going to get into this more as this progresses, but I talk frequently to Jim Semivan. Jim Semivan used to say on the To the Stars website that he was director of operations somewhere along the way. I'm not sure when, but now it says, or last time I looked, I haven't looked in a while, but last time I looked, it said he was now, it didn't say director of operations, it said vice president to the Stars Academy and co-founder. No, I think it was changed to say co-founder to kind of prop up, because the other co-founder was Tom DeLonge. There's this big long story about Tom DeLonge going to my understanding is whether it was an air show or company picnic or both at Lockheed, and being approached. He may have been asked to be there regardless, but I think he was probably chosen to be a voice to a younger audience, and he has definite connections in the entertainment industry, and he was a book publisher and author and entertainment kind of juggernaut, and known for quite a bit of success in that, and producing movie and TV show things. And so he had a background, and I think they thought all that was useful to them, obviously. And certainly the voice to millennial age, generation, et cetera. So, so they, he was brought on board. Whether it was his idea or not is kind of up for debate, and probably not. But regardless, he does fulfill that role. And the guys respect him and regard him for his business success and prowess and entertainment success. And while To the Stars is definitely a company interested in developing technology and building it and whatnot, equally, I've had these discussions with Jim Semivan many times, they're also very much an entertainment company, and realize that has a value in getting out a message and educating people, as well as an instant way for income to back projects and stuff they want to do. But they're also working with aerospace companies, as Bigelow, which, since we were talking about him being one of them, and Lockheed and Boeing and others, to build, projects and whatnot, and have had closed door meetings in DC to get funding for those projects. And they are doing that. And so they're both these things. You're like, well, are they one or the other? No, they're both, and from what I can tell, they believe that they're equally both and find purpose in doing both. So at least the entertainment end of that, Tom is extremely involved in. So,
all right, Melinda, I'm going to get you to hold on right
halfway.
there. I'm going to get you to hold on right there, Melinda, because we're going to go out to break. Melinda Leslie, Lorien Fenton, UFO Talk. We're going the full distance here with these ladies, so stay tuned. Hour 3 of Spaced Out Radio coming up.
Get your horns up with me on Spaced Out Radio. This is Ron Bumblefoot THAL. Come tune in to SOR where you can hear me rock out with Little Brother is Watching, the official theme song of Spaced Out Radio. And then come on over to bumblefoot.com where you can find out about my tour schedule, my music, and everything else. Bumblefoot.com keeps you up to date on what I'm doing and the best way to stay in touch with my music and music camps. Sign up for my newsletter at bumblefoot.com and remember, Little Brother is watching.
At spacedoutradio.com, we have a little bit of everything for you to stay up late. So while you're there, check out our SOR Newswire, where our team brings you stories of the weird and strange to the WTF from around the globe. News on Bigfoot, UFOs, paranormal, Darwinian-type crime tales. It's the stories that the mainstream media usually won't touch. Well, we got them all on the SOR Newswire, only at spacedoutradio.com.
We all know on Spaced Out Radio we love a good beard and mustache, so why not take care of your facial hair with Mighty Moose Beard Oil? Made in Canada, we're taking care of beards and stashes around the world. We use 100% natural ingredients with our oils and balms to make your whiskers feel silky smooth. Use promo code SOR2019 at MightyMooseBeard.com today.
Come hang out with Spaced Out Radio where we own the night. This is Carl. You can follow Dave on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, and during the show, use the hashtag Spaced Out Radio to chat with us live. On Instagram, at Dave Scott SOR. On Facebook, give our page a like, Spaced Out Radio Show. SOR archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. Come join us, or I will come join you. See you at your window.
Find your escape where time has no limits. It's about living today and cherishing the heritage of yesterday. A spirit of adventure for what is new, with the nostalgia of the past. Your timepiece is a reflection of who you are. Life surrounded by beauty from the world around us to the soul within. EscapeWatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today.
The Call of the Wild is in Vancouver. The Moose Vancouver is one of the hottest bars and restaurants in the city. Open until 2 a.m. nightly, the Moose will rock you like a hurricane all night long. Great food with everything on the menu at $6.95 near the corner of Nelson and Granville. Get your horns up and come rock with us. The Moose Vancouver, the official rocking bar of Spaced Out Radio.
Canada's largest UFO conference is ready to roll in Toronto this September 21st and 22nd at the Alien Cosmic Expo. This year is about the experience. Listen to the stories of Dave Scott, Travis Walton, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Ryan Stacey, Richard Dolan, Leslie Mitchell-Clark, and more. Get your tickets now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Hey fans, it's Dave Scott. Do I have something for you to check out? A great documentary about legendary Mexican investigative journalist Jaime Maussan and his search for the truth about UFOs. Beyond the Spectrum, Maussan's UFO files can be found on Amazon Prime. It's free to watch if you're a member. You might even hear me in it. So check out Beyond the Spectrum, only on Amazon Prime.
Visit purpleplates.com today. For over 40 years, the Purple Energy Plates have been delivering amazing results for their many customers. Inspired by the great genius Nikola Tesla, the harmony, healing, and energetic effects of the plates have proven over and over to be beneficial and often miraculous to thousands of customers. Check their site for daily specials and choose from their many energy products. You won't be sorry. Visit them today at purpleplates.com.
So, you love talk radio? Then you'll love TalkStreamLive.com. TalkStream Live is always on, 24/7, with the best streaming talk shows. Find your favorite talkers and discover some new ones. It's free, readily available online or on mobile with any smartphone or tablet. Finding your favorite talk shows all in one place has gotten a whole lot easier. Just go to TalkStreamLive.com. Be sure to download the free apps from Google Play or the iTunes App Store.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
From the mile-high mountains of Colorado to all of you around the world, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I invite you to stick around spacedoutradio.com for Saturday and Sunday nights where I host Spaced Out Weekend. Let me take you on a wild ride of weird and strange topics, from ghosts and ETs to remote viewing, psychic phenomena, and so much more. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern Time on Spaced Out Weekend, where we own the night.
On the first Tuesday of every month, I encourage you to come along for a journey with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You. Together, we will take a look at how to access the highest expression of yourself and change your life. Consciousness, ET contact, health, and wellness, we can talk about it all. So come along for a spiritual ride with me, Geraldine Orozco, on The Spiritual You, only on Spaced Out Radio.
The freedom to post what you want, when you want. That's the social media freedom you need. Social Media Freedom is the free app in your app store. No need to worry about going to jail or being shadow banned any longer. It's the freedom to say what you feel. The freedom to know Big Brother isn't watching. It's the way social media is supposed to be. Social Media Freedom. It's time to set yourself free. Download from your app store today.
We are getting ready to relaunch the SOR Space Travelers Club at spacedoutradio.com. For $5 a month, you can join us for a plethora of features found nowhere else. Hang out in a private chat room during the show and after party. You can check out some exclusive content and a store specifically for you, as well as a private listener forum where you can post your thoughts, stories, and pictures. The SOR Space Travelers Club, coming soon to spacedoutradio.com.
Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
Would you like to connect with us? Head to spacedoutradio.com for all your latest show info. Now, back to Dave Scott and SOR.
Welcome back to the third and final hour of Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Great to have you with us. Tomorrow night on the show, David Spinks will be with us. We're getting into all paranormal talk, 9:06 Pacific, 12:06 a.m. Eastern at spacedoutradio.com. Hi to everyone listening in on KZFX 93.7 FM in Ridgecrest, California, WQEE 99.1 FM in Newnan, Georgia, UPRN 107.7 FM in New Orleans, KDNF AM 1560 in Dangerfield, Texas, and KDUN AM 1030 in Reedsport, Oregon. On the digital side, we got Revolution Radio. Hi to Jareth Barrett and everybody out there in Rev Radio land. Don't forget, you can check out all of our archives for free at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. The Desert Clam has set the password for tonight in the SOR Space Travelers Club. Nathanize. Nathanize is your password. Make sure you use it wisely, Space Travelers, as the Clam sets a password each and every night right here on the mighty SOR. Our website is spacedoutradio.com, where right now you can read up on the SOR Newswire put together by Captain Shirk. Our show can be played there live as well. There are more features coming for you. The Gavinator is working diligently to get our website up and running fully, and when he does, you'll be the first to see, so make sure you keep on checking back. Melinda Leslie and Lorien Fenton are here to keep us up to date on what's happening along the UFO scene lately, because there's a lot of news coming out. We got about this document that came out a couple of weeks ago, the Wilson documents, which as these ladies will tell you, really should be called the Edgar Mitchell documents. We're going to get into that. But first, Melinda, thank you so much for being with us. Really appreciate you there. Same as you, Lorien.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Melinda, there's a lot of people, when they found out that you were coming on this show tonight, a lot of people this week have been asking me about your relationship with Jim Semivan, who is a major player in the To the Stars Academy, has been very tightly wound throughout his career with Robert Bigelow and government agencies in Washington, D.C., and yet you and him have struck up kind of a friendship, if we could say that. What's this man like? What's he about?
Yes, well, I think I'll explain to everyone just a little bit. Without going in great detail, you can look him up on the To the Stars website. And he is, as I said, now it says co-founder and vice president, being that president and founder is DeLong. And again, it used to originally say on their site that he was director of operations, which he still is, even if not by name, not by title. And so he's kind of heading up the whole thing. His background is extremely high-level CIA. Some other researchers in the field have done their digging. And I can say this, I don't think this is going to be any problem, but Daniel Sheehan did some digging, asked around in D.C. and found out all sorts of stuff. So he's extremely high-level CIA, like maybe one time third in command. I mean, really high up. If you have the director and the assistant director and then him, kind of thing, And so he's got a huge background. Now, of course, a lot of people that's going to send up instant red flags, understandably so. But at the same time, I think, in some of these cases, not to throw the baby out with the bathwater, and go, okay, well, why is that? What is going on here, and how does that help us understand this? And then I had a client come out on my UFO tour one night, a woman who owns an art museum, who was friends with him, brought it up while out on my tour one night, talked about the fact that he had come and toured her museum and brought other guests. And there was a long reason why and how that came about, but they hit off and became friends. And she told me she was friends with him, etc. And at the end of the tour, she said that she happened to know he'd be coming out here soon. Well, actually, she didn't tell me right away, actually. She just said, I know him, and we talked about it. And then like a week later, this person calls me and says, as a matter of fact, he's going to be coming out there. I had a conversation with him. I told him I met you. I told him what you do. He's very interested. And he said he's already coming out there because he has to do some business in, I think it was Scottsdale in the Phoenix area, and loves Sedona and goes up there, and him and his wife are thinking of coming. And I said, oh my God, she said, would you like to meet him? I said, yes. And then next thing I know, at a different date, it actually ended up being Super Bowl Sunday a year ago. So a year ago, February, so now a year and a half. And he came out here and we went out to lunch and had a very interesting discussion. Of course, I came with questions, came with my researcher hat on, but he was buying me lunch and we, and his wife was there and we had a lovely discussion. I asked him all sorts of tough questions. I felt he was answering them to the best of his ability. He was very interested in my research, my abduction experiences, and my MILAB work. My MILAB abduction research, MIL for military, AB for abduction. And but we had met through this client of mine. Now, I admit that is the surface level story. And that may be it. That's as much as I can say with any amount of fact is what I just rolled out. There are people involved and witnesses and people on the tour who heard the conversations and this other lady, has kind of become my friend. We've had a couple conversations, not in a long time, but immediately after the tour. But when she said she knew him and put me together with him, and that's how it happened. Maybe there's a deeper story of him wanting to meet me, and I can't rule that out, and I've never ruled that out as a very distinct possibility. But regardless, it happened, regardless of the motives. Now, I'm no dummy, at least I try not to be. I'm an idiot, but not a complete one, is what I always say. And so I tried to maintain a friendship and not abuse it. There's a couple times he has called me about stuff, and there are times that I've called him about stuff. There's times when maybe months went by and we didn't talk, and then there's times when we've talked once a week, and, but more longer periods between discussions than, but, and those discussions have been very interesting. I flat out asked him all sorts of things about To the Stars and their goals. And then I, called him recently to specifically ask him about this document stuff and To the Stars' position on it. And, and so that's where it's gone. And, I am friendly with the guy. I am cautious talking to him. He's very cautious talking to me. We're both very frank with each other, but in a way that I think we respect each other. Now people go, why the hell is he talking to you? Well, I met him and became his friend. He's been very upfront with me that I am the only person in ufology that he's talking to. Now, he hasn't even talked to Knapp himself, or so he tells me. Of course, the other guys do, and they do frequently, of course. I mean, the other, To the Stars people, not all of them, but there's 4 or 5 of them that, and certainly 3 that talk to Knapp pretty frequently. He considers the only other people in ufology, but he laughs about it, that he's talked to is Hal Puthoff and John Alexander. But then he laughs and he goes, I guess they're not really ufology. And I go, no, not really. So he says, I guess that doesn't count, but he does talk to John Alexander and Hal Puthoff frequently. He made that very clear to me. Of course, Hal being part of the organization, they have weekly meetings about it, pretty much. I think most of them on Skype, some of them in person, whatever. But and with the board of directors. And then been very upfront with me about his friendship with John Alexander, which is, someone involved loosely with the UFO field, and many researchers know, and it's a very long, detailed story, but I've known him for a number of years. And I've obviously met Hal more than a couple times. Right. Lorien knows more detail to all this, but it's not necessary to get into now, because that could be a whole nother show. But I have a history. My research partner and I, Randy Kopang, have been researching the working group and its involvement in ufology for many years. And when you talk about NIDS, National Institute for Discovery Science, that's one of its incarnations, a reforming with certain people to accomplish certain things. And that was put together, by Bigelow, and John Alexander headed it up, is my understanding. And John Alexander had headed up the working group. He admitted it himself in 2 of his books, and talked about its history. Now, all this matters now because it dovetails perfectly into this release of these documents, as it turns out. Now, people are referencing predominantly one document because it is the most significant, and I have no problem with that. It is a document that was notes from an interview of Dr. Eric Davis interviewing Vice Admiral or Rear Admiral. I'm sometimes unclear whether it's Rear Admiral or Vice Admiral, but either way, Thomas Wilson, and who my understanding is prior to this interview was what you would call the he was the Assistant Intelligence Director of the Joint Chiefs of Staff for the DIA, Defense Intelligence Agency, and held the position of what was called J2. And that Dr. Eric Davis is well known for his involvement in NIDS his current association, not on the board for To the Stars, but working with HAL. They work together in Austin, Texas, and that HAL's business and his science work, he's partnered up with Eric Davis on. They run that business, and that their relationship to all this, besides HAL's immediate relationship, is the Atom Project, which is the metamaterials and metals from crash retrievals that have made their way into the hands of To the Stars and its extended group. And I have been quick to also have conversations repeatedly with Jim Semivan on the phone. First when I met with him a year and a half ago in person, and since, where Jim brought this up in my initial, lunch meeting with him, where we talked for, I know we were together at least 2 hours, maybe closer to 3, I'd have to think back, but at least 2 hours. And he brought up that To the Stars, when we think of it, which is the board of directors, and could be looked up on the website, I think it's 10 or 12 people, it's actually the public face of a larger group. And he offered that up, that it's actually a group of closer to like 50 people. I forget the exact number he said. I don't know that he said it exact. He said give or take, something like that. And that there's a public face. And in a very recent conversation, I brought that up with him again for clarity. And he said, yes, it is. I said, I remember you saying this, and he said, oh, yes, it's still the case. It is a bigger group of which that's the public face. I think that's really important for everyone to remember. That bigger group includes kind of the extended group into the people looking into abductees and people, not only abductees, but people who had close proximity to landed craft and who have been affected by it. And the research and study, the taking of DNA from these individuals and an interest in them. And that is, of course, has involved, to some degree, Eric Davis, but mostly, for instance, Kit Green and Dr. Jacques Vallée, and others. So, and that involves them. But that's part of that extended group, without a doubt. And Jim's very cautious and is talking to me about it. And so sometimes I have to clarify when he's talking to me, do you mean the To the Stars guys that meet regularly in the board of directors, or do you mean the bigger group, And he's usually pretty quick to say, well, okay, that's, the bigger group. And it's kind of almost a little bit of a deflection from the fact that these people have a role and are connected. And I've caught him trying to downplay it. And I said, no, wait a second. They're doing that, like even with this new document and Eric Davis interviewing Vice Admiral Wilson, it's like, okay, why was Eric there? And, and trying to ask him about that. Now, basically their comment, and I won't say this lightly, to the Stars and the extended group and anyone involved at NIDS at the time, these folks have now, over this subject, clearly giving out a unanimous no comment. And I was saying they've circled the wagons and locked arms on this to have a unanimous, front on it. But now I jokingly say they haven't. I was saying, well, they circled the wagons. And then I said, well, no, it's more like they circled the tanks. And then I said, no, actually, they circled the fighter jets. And anyone following, the TV show and everything To the Stars doing. So that's the joke. They've circled the fighter jets, as opposed to the wagons, the wagon fighter jets, and they have locked arms. And as a total group of people, and even the people mentioned the document, there's clearly where these guys have all, spoken to each other clearly. I mean, Jim so much admitted that to me as to say, we've locked arms. He didn't say locked arms. I'm putting that in there. But clearly, anyone talking to these guys is getting the same response. Richard Dolan got a response from Hal Puthoff. First, I believe, on the phone, if I understand correctly, and then Hal followed up with an email like, here's your quote, here's a paragraph that you can publish and go forward with. And I think Rich summed this up beautifully, so I'll quote Richard on this when he said that what Hal gave him was a brilliant non-denial. And so a very crafted, well-worded non-denial. Well, I had a conversation with Jim on the phone that was a 43-minute long brilliant non-denial. And I gave him many opportunities to deny the significance of this letter, and he didn't. So obviously, by you like in reading something, you say read between the lines. Well, I was listening between the lines, and as I'm listening between the lines, it's clear to me, and Rich felt the same way from what Hal gave him, that these guys are concerned. Now, for those that
Melinda,
don't know,
I want to cut you off right there because we only got about 4 minutes before we got to go to break, and I want to get this question in because I want to concentrate more on the notes afterwards. Getting back to Jim Semivan, there is rumor, and maybe you can confirm this or not. He's an experiencer. Never mind the high position he may have held in the alphabet groups, but from what I heard, him and his wife actually had aliens in their bedroom or in their house, and that's why he takes this topic very seriously.
Yes, that is very true. Now, in our initial talk and sense, there's been very few things, and I will be very honest with this. There's very few things where he has said, don't share this, or I don't want the details of something shared. And they've not been things that have been that important. And I've been always upfront with them in every conversation. If there is something you don't want shared, you make it very clear to me, because I'm going to yap about the fact we're talking. And again, if there's something you don't want, you better tell me. And if I do say something out there that you'd rather not, you got to call me right away and say, dial that back a little, because I'm not, again, I might be an idiot, but I'm not a complete one. I want to keep an open conversation with him. When this man in this position, heading up this organization, tells me I'm the only one in ufology he's talking to, and people like Hal and John Alexander and others are, and Colin Kelleher and the rest of the people on the board, Chris Mellon and, Steve Justin and Tom, when they're all allowing him to talk to me, I'm not going to screw that up. Okay. I'm going to try to keep an open communication, realizing at any moment I could say something wrong and it's gone. It'll just go boop and, it'll evaporate quick. And I don't want to do that. And I've told him, if I say anything wrong, you let me know. But so far, he's very clear. Now, going back to with what you were saying, that original lunch date with him, he did talk all about, and his wife was there, and him and his wife talked all about their personal abduction experience. They had, let's just say before we had that lunch meeting, we had researched each other, and we even laughed about it. He knew all about me, what I did, watched videos on me, read stuff, asked around. He did his homework. Well, I know meeting with him, I did my homework, and we came knowing a lot about each other. I expected that he would know all about me. I think he was tickled that I knew a lot about him. Granted, not everything, but as much as I could find out. But we ended up talking about that. That is one thing where he's okay with my saying, yes, they had an abduction. I will not give the details. But you know what, everybody? And I'm not just saying this to deflect. I really mean this. There wasn't anything that special about it. To me, it was a story. It had some unique parts. But, if you take any 300 abductees and put them in a room together, 20 have had this and 40 have had this and 50 have had this and 10 have had this and blah, blah, blah. So he, out of a big group of abductees, probably, 40 have had the kind of stuff that he's had. So is it something that happens to everyone? No. But it was common amongst abduction accounts. And that's as much as I'll say. Did he have it? Yes. He's been public. That was outed before me. That was announced in radio shows. It was not a secret. I think Grant had said something, whatever, but he's an abductee because Grant's very close friends with abductee Chris Bledsoe. Chris Bledsoe is very close and talked to these guys. They investigated his case as an abductee. That's been known. Grant has talked about his involvement with Bledsoe. And so, it had already come out, whether it was from Chris or Grant or both, that he had experiences. And so we talked about that.
Is that, as we got about 20 seconds here, is that abnormal for somebody in his position with the government to be having ET contact experiences?
Well, I think the simple answer to that is no. ET abduction and contact experiences happen across the board. Have they happened to a lot of powerful people and famous people? You bet. Is that deliberate on the part of the ETs? Maybe. Who knows? You don't know what they're thinking. You just got to guess.
On that note, we're going to go to break here at the bottom of the hour. Melinda Leslie, Lorien Fenton are our guests. We're going to get more into Jim Semivan. We're going to get more into the Edgar Mitchell, Admiral Wilson documents. We're taking it to the top of the hour tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Stay tuned.
Coming soon to our website, spacedoutradio.com, is the SOR Space Travelers Club. For just $5 a month, you can get into a private area on our site where you can hang with other listeners in our chat room, post in our forum, and check out a bunch of exclusive content and store that won't be found anywhere else, including a nightly after-show party with Dave. It's going to be the best $5 a month you're going to spend. The SOR Space Travelers, only at spacedoutradio.com.
Are you having encounters with the paranormal, supernatural, or ufological that you cannot explain? Look no further than the SOR Sightlines Report, brought to you by the Experiencers Support Association. This is Ryan Stacy, head of the Research Association, TESA. Soon on the Spaced Out Radio website, you'll be able to file your reports and have them researched for you. We are independent and ready to help Spaced Out Radio listeners today.
Hello, this is your guitar man, Ron Bumblefoot Thal, and I have to tell you, I love the response I get for Little Brother is Watching from Spaced Out Radio fans. It's amazing how music can inspire and make people think deeper about what's going on in the supernatural world. You can head over to my website, bumblefoot.com, to check out my music, my guitar workshops, my touring, even check out some of the hot sauces that I'm working on. And make sure you keep on listening, because with Spaced Out Radio, you know Little Brother is watching.
Hey, Spaced Out Radio listeners, it's Dave Scott. I want you to check out a great documentary I'm involved in called Beyond the Spectrum, Mosson's UFO Files. Directed by Darcy Weir, the film follows Jaime Mosson's journey for mainstream journalistic truth in ufology in Mexico. Beyond the Spectrum can be found on Amazon Prime. If you're a member, watch it free. It's worth the watch. Come get spooked at the 4th Annual Forest Moon Paracon in Cedar-Woolley, Washington, Saturday, September 28th. UFOs, ghosts, aliens, Bigfoot. Speakers include Mike Morin and Jason Jordan, R. Keith Andrews, and Dave Scott from Spaced Out Radio, and so much more. There will be workshops and a VIP roundtable. Get early bird tickets now at fmparacon.com.
From the heartlands of Canada to beards around the world, we know how to take care of you. Fill your follicles with the Mighty Moose Beard Oil. All our oils and balms are handmade and 100% natural ingredients because we care about your beard. And hey, use the promo code SOR2019 and get your Mighty Moose Beard Oil today. You can check us out on our website, mightymoosebeard.com.
Heading to Vancouver and looking for a night on the town? The Moose Vancouver is the bar that never stops rocking until 2 a.m. every night. The Moose has great food with everything on the menu from $6.95 to $8.95. Fantastic, vibrant staff and rock and roll that will bring you back to when the music was real, the hair was long, and the guitars were rocking. Get your party on at the Moose Vancouver, the official party bar of Spaced Out Radio.
A timepiece is a reflection of who you are, and what better way to show off the real you than with an Escape watch. Escape is a lifestyle brand accessorizing your days and nights. Choose to escape and create the life of discovery that you deserve. Dream, play, unite with your own personalized escape watch. Head to escapewatches.com. There is no time like the present to enjoy your escape. Use promo code SMF2017 for your 20% discount today. Coming up this September 21st and 22nd, all UFO eyes will be focused on Toronto for the 4th Annual Alien Cosmic Expo. Come listen to some of the biggest names and experiencers in ufology. Travis Walton, Paul Hellyer, Richard Dolan, Paula Harris, Grant Cameron, Randy Kramer, and Spaced Out Radio's own Dave Scott. Tickets are on sale now at aliencosmicexpo.com.
Looking for a place to advertise at a very reasonable cost? Look no further than Spaced Out Radio. SpacedOutRadio.com has an advertising tab that you can click to check out our daily, weekly, and monthly packages to play on the radio, or our website including social media. From commercial spots to banners, we have it all. Check out our competitive pricing today.
Every night on Spaced Out Radio, we have places for you to hang out. Hi, this is Carl. Join our SOR Space Travelers group on Facebook for live chat. On Twitter, using hashtag Spaced Out Radio, you can also join us in our Spreaker chat room. Check us out on Instagram at Dave Scott SOR. All of our archives are free on YouTube at Spaced Out Radio. By the way, I'll be watching you at your window until you do. Bye!
Did you know Spaced Out Radio runs 7 days a week? Hi there, this is Tessa Nicole Thomas, and I'm here to take you on a paranormal journey each Saturday and Sunday night. Why change the station when you have it all right here? Together, we'll hang out and share some strange and scary stories. And don't forget, we have Psychic Sundays as well, so come tune in Spaced Out Weekend. We get going at 9 p.m. Pacific, midnight Eastern, only at spacedoutradio.com, where we own the night.
Looking for the stories of the strange and weird that you will find hard to find anywhere else? Check out the SOR Newswire on our website. Our writers, led by Captain Shirk, are scouring the world for the oddest and most bizarre stories we can find. Everything from weird crime to suspenseful and paranormal. We're working hard for you to bring you the most intriguing news of your day. Check out the SOR Newswire at spacedoutradio.com today.
Are you intrigued by Paranormal Talk Radio? You'll love the new Paranormal Radio app from TalkStream Live. You'll find a great selection of talk shows covering UFOs, ghosts, strange phenomena, and much more. Download the Paranormal Radio app now and start listening to the very best in paranormal talk entertainment, including the network you're listening to right now, the Paranormal Radio app, free in Google Play and the iOS App Store.
Sorry. Welcome back to Spaced Out Radio tonight. I am your host, Dave Scott. Sorry about the pause. I had a little bit of a coughing fit. Still getting over this bronchitis, so please bear with me on that. I didn't want to bark in all of your ears. You'd be like, really, Dave? Really? Melinda Leslie and Lorien Fenton are with us tonight on Spaced Out Radio. We only got them for about another 22 minutes here. Melinda, I want to start with you, and then Lorien, I'm going to get your opinion. We were talking about Jim Semivan right off the bat here, right before we went to break. And when we went to break, we were talking about his experiences. Now, there are a bunch of people out there who are experiencers, who are UFO researchers, who really have an invested interest in this community, who are waving the TTSA flag back and forth quite a bit right now. And there are those in the other camp who are saying, hold on a second here, why are we giving this group so much credit? How do we balance the fact of what TTSA has brought forward comparatively to what they have not done but are getting credit for? Is it 50-50? Is it 60-40 pro TTSA, 70-30, 80-20? What are your thoughts?
Well, I actually, of all things, addressed that very subject matter with Mr. Sonny Van on the phone in our last conversation, which was just earlier this last week. It was last week. Yeah. Anyway, so when did this? But I know it came out Friday morning regarding the Wilson document, and I'm losing track of time already. That was just last Friday. Yeah, it was just last Friday. So, so it was just earlier this week, that I talked to him. God, I can't believe it's just. It feels like 2 or 3 weeks, and it's literally been like exactly. It's just like, this is crazy. The speed this is moving. But when I talked to him, I had said, look, even the most hardened skeptics in the field of ufology, the people, and he makes it very clear to me, they're not answering to ufology. I mean, they don't really care. They're doing what they're doing. Okay. And much to all of our dismay, but that's their view. And he's made that very clear to me. But I said, even the most, whether there's the folks who are on board and fully supportive of you, the folks who are supportive but questioning, the middle of the road folks, which I told him I would place myself in, and then the hardened skeptics. And I said, there's times I'm more of a hardened skeptic, and I'm basically middle of the road. And I said, and then the hardened skeptics and the people who really question or whatever. I said, you guys are making a difference. I mean, well, actually, I guess I just talked to him like 3 days ago or whatever, because, I said, you guys have made, or 2 days ago, because I said, you guys have made a difference because, here you have Stephanopoulos asking the president, about what the Navy's doing. And by the way, you guys, Jim has made it very clear to me in many conversations that what the Navy's doing and the Air Force is doing and the new, guidelines for reporting with those agencies and the Pentagon release and everything, these guys have been behind all of it, without a doubt. I mean, this is work that they're doing. This is closed door meetings at the Pentagon, everything that the guys with To the Stars are actually doing. He made that very clear, and I have his permission to say such a thing to the best of my knowledge. So, and so going back to, I said, Jim, I said, even the most hardened skeptics are dialing it back because you guys have made a difference regardless. I said, let's leave motives or agenda aside, motives aside. I said, there is open discussion. A lot of people in ufology are able to talk to their family members. They can go forward with, hey, look what the military did. Look what the Pentagon did. Look what was on the front page of the New York Times, the Washington Post, Politico. Look what the Navy's come out and said. Look what the Pentagon's come out and said. Stephanopoulos asked the president, and you start to go in a 2-year period or even in a year's time, there has been a huge sea change. I mean, Tucker Carlson on Fox News talks about it at least once a week. I think he's talking about it 3 times a week. I mean, this story is gone mainstream. That's because of these guys. Now, love them or hate them, that is what has happened. Regardless, and I said to Jim, regardless of agenda. And I said, so you have even the hardened skeptics saying, well, wait a second, they are changing things, which they have. And I go back and I said to Jim, I said, I go back to that first lunch meeting we had when I said, Jim, this is going to get out of your guys' hands. This is going to explode. You guys can't be fully on top of this. This is going to become a bigger thing. You start to have military bodies and NASA and other government agencies and blah, blah, blah talking. I said, I don't think this is going to be disclosure because of you guys. I think it's going to be disclosure in spite of you guys. Because once you pull that string and it starts unraveling, it'll just keep unraveling. And he leaned across the table at me and he said, because I said, I don't think this is because of you guys. I think it's in spite of you guys. And he leaned across the table and said, I certainly hope so. Or he said, like meaning himself. He goes, I certainly hope so. And I said that to him again recently. And he said he still, feels that way. Now, that may be Jim's personal feelings aside from the group. I don't know. There's times when I wonder, is he just speaking for him or is he speaking for all of them? I always keep both in mind. It could be just him or he could be speaking for the group. He's certainly not going to say out of line for the group. He's certainly never going to say anything that violates national security or his oaths. He made it very clear in recent conversations. Melinda, we have our security oath to the grave. They're to the grave. We cannot violate them. And that's why they've locked arms in this unanimous response to these documents to say no comment. But, like I said, a 43-minute discussion on no comment tells a lot. Quoting again Dolan, it's a brilliant non-denial. And so, that's what they're doing. I forget. I lost track of your original question. I'm sorry.
Well, I'm going to get Lorien in here. Lorien, your opinion on that. Are we giving TTSA enough credit, too much credit?
I think we're giving TTSA all the credit they can drum up because we're not being discerning about what they're giving us. I mean, it's like, what have they given us? That's what I want to know. They've really not given us anything that we didn't already know before. Melinda knows how crazy I get around this topic. It's just that they're packaging it a little differently, and they're giving it to the mainstream media. They're giving it to the people that have never heard it before. So, what is it they're really getting credit for from our community? Go ahead, Melinda.
That's it. You just hit the nail on the head. This isn't for us. This is for the mainstream.
That's right. Yeah.
Okay. This is for the mainstream. And Jim just told me, and I'm free to say this. If, for instance, the TV show, which is the very, very public mainstream face of them, and yes, it's all slighted a certain way, and it's television. It's got all the, bells and whistles of,
God, I hope we got enough time to disclose the drinking game, but go ahead.
Oh, yeah, the drinking game. So we should. We okay, let's just do that right now. A little sideline here. When you watch
Undisclosed or Unidentified.
Unidentified, their TV show. Well, they do these constant shots, and in the second and third one, they way overkilled it. I mean, particularly the third show, it was so over the top that they keep showing like they have a drone up in the air filming the car driving down the road. I mean, like constantly, like we're driving here, we're driving there, we're driving down a country lane, And then they keep showing the guys like, I'm on my way to interview so-and-so, and they're driving the car and they're contemplating. They're like sitting, behind the wheel, contemplating while they're driving. And they're just overkilling it. I mean, History Channel, the producers, is like, really, guys? And so I think, I told Lorien, we need a drinking game that every time they show the car on the road, or someone sitting behind the wheel, you have to take a shot. We'll have everybody drunk off their ass.
Melinda Leslie and Lorien Fenton are our guests tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Melinda, talking to Jim Semivan and other people on this document for Admiral Wilson or Edgar Mitchell, whoever you want to put it. Also includes Bob Bigelow's name on one of the headlines. Grant broke that on this show as well as released it that day, which was 2 days ago.
Yes.
What is the reaction from these people who are highly involved in this? Are they happy? Are they pissed off that it's out? What information, if they are upset, is really firing them up?
Well, okay. I think we need to backpedal for just a quick sec. Obviously, you've been covering this on your show, so hopefully most of your listeners know. There have been 3 documents, and one of them is kind of 2 in 1. So, but the first thing that came out was a whole bunch of documents that came out together that were emails between different members of NIDS discussing amongst themselves about the alien autopsy and Fantilli film and et cetera. Now, a lot of people have said, oh, my God, wait, wasn't that proven a hoax, blah, blah, blah. And I brought up to a number of people, it's like, you got to take it in context to when they were discussing it. It was back in the same years when it, this is when it first happened, and all of ufology was like investigating it, and all of ufology for quite a long time thought it might very well be legitimate. And even when
I got to interject something real quickly here, just shortly. Some of the pieces of that film were actually very legit because most of those guys realized that there were just little pieces that were a dead giveaway that if it wasn't real, somebody who was at an autopsy put enough in there to let them know that it was the story was divulged or the storyboard or whatever to make that was leaked.
Okay.
That's what they figured out. Okay.
And I do not want to get into the controversy over it. But it's just so to say that the first documents, and these guys at the time maybe fully believed it was legit, but I don't think they would say that now. Who knows? I don't know what they think about it now. At the time, though, even ufology was taking it seriously. So it's just interesting that these people were taking it seriously. I think you can just don't read too much into that. Take it within the context of when that discussion happened. But then, so that was the first thing. It was mild. I think most people kind of went, and looked the other way. But then all of a sudden, now apparently it had come out, what we call the Wilson document, had come out previously kind of under the radar, and then all of a sudden got re-released and really hit the radar when it got posted. My understanding is a Reddit discussion amongst some of the young guns guys that call themselves that in the group, in the community, and that they were having a discussion on Reddit, and it came out and someone posted it there. It came out from the same person who had originally posted the other documents. We know that they came together from, it seems, the same person. Now, a year ago, you guys have probably covered this, but an Australian researcher, James Rigney, I don't know exceptionally well, but I've met him and had discussions with him at conferences. Very nice guy, very down to earth, very grounded. Apparently, he gave a full set that had been given to him of documents. We don't know how many are there, but of documents to Grant Cameron as they were leaving, not last year, but the year before, is my understanding, not last year, but the year before, Star Work conference put on by Paula Harris, and Grant was there as a speaker. He leaves, and I think it was the same year. In fact, I'm fairly certain that I had my major discussion with Grant on the history of the working group, and Grant and I decided to kind of start really sharing research about it. I believe was the exact same conference. But anyways, so James it gives him this. Grant, upon reading the first page or two, totally realizes what he has and the significance. But James did not disclose to him who he got it from. And to this day, James has not disclosed who he got it from. But Grant sat on it. And he approached Michael Hall, attorney, very involved in the UFO field, and we all respect. And first he approached Danny Sheehan, couldn't get a hold of him, so he went to Michael, because when he couldn't get a hold of Danny, and he said, I need some direction on this. What can I do? Should I go forward with this? And I think Michael said, not all of it, maybe some of it. And he said, what if I put it in my book? And he said, well, if you publish anything, you have to heavily redact it to keep yourself free of any possible legal and, national security considerations. So Grant sat on it. And he talked about the fact that he had a document, he was going to publish it in his book, but he was being very guarded, both because he wanted to see if it surfaced on its own first, and because he was waiting to put it in his book.
3 minutes.
Okay. Well, so that's in a nutshell. Then all of a sudden it shows up. And it shows up in a way that gets people talking about it, and Dolan, it gets brought to Dolan's attention, gets brought to my attention. Now, Richard Dolan says he was at one time given 2 pages of this and possibly shown more of it, look but don't touch before that, and et cetera. So, and James Rigney says, I wasn't the only person who got it. Other people got it, started showing researchers. And so, but everyone was being cautious because of the nature of it until it came out seemingly on its own, or at least being posted on the internet, that everyone paid attention. And that was the Wilson document. But it turns out the emphasis and the significance so far is the Wilson document, but there was the first document, which was a series of emails. And then the Wilson one, which is, again, Dr. Eric Davis interviewing Vice Admiral Wilson. And then the third one is one that, as you just said, Grant just released yesterday or the day before, within the last 48 hours. And Grant releases a letter that is a letter on NIDS letterhead, National Institute of Discovery Science letterhead, from Bob Bigelow to Dr. Edgar Mitchell, astronaut Dr. Edgar Mitchell. So, and because at the time, Edgar Mitchell was consulting to the board of NIDS. So he was involved in NIDS. He was a paid consultant at the time. Money was all coming from Bigelow. But, but there were paid consultants and board members and things that they were doing, research, investigation, studies. The most famous, of course, being the entire Skinwalker Ranch, but that wasn't it. They were doing a lot others. And one thing that this letter points out very clearly is that they were discussing an upcoming meeting that apparently Mitchell was going to attend and what all they were going to cover. And every other paragraph, or almost every paragraph in the letter, mentions abduction-related research. So that showed that they had a clear interest in that, which goes back to the stars and its precursors, going back to ATIP and going back to BASS and going back to NIDS, all being the same thing. And so clearly these guys have always had a huge interest and involvement in abduction research, going back to Bigelow's funding and NIDS funding of abduction research organizations. It's a huge history. That's one thing we don't need to go into detail here.
Well, we don't have time. We got to cut it on loose. Melinda Leslie, Lorien Fenton, we do have to do this again very soon. We definitely do, because this information is going to keep on piling up. So I want to say thank you for coming on Spaced Out Radio tonight, both of you. Tomorrow night on the show, we have David Spinks coming in. We're going to get into cryptids like Bigfoot Dogman. We're going to get into some paranormal stories, UFO stories. We got a lot to talk about with Big Bad Davey out of the East Coast of Virginia. We're going to have a lot of fun with him tomorrow night at spacedoutradio.com, starting at 9 p.m. Pacific. Make that 9:06 to be exact. 12:06 a.m. Eastern. Only at spacedoutradio.com, our terrestrial affiliates, and of course on Revolution Radio. So make sure you stay tuned for that. It's going to be a lot of fun coming on up. Man, this was a big, big show tonight with Lorien and Melinda. Make sure you can catch it on our archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Just do me the favor, hit that subscribe button. We got Mr. Ron Bumblefoot THAL rocking in the background with Little Brother Is Watching. Bumblefoot is the official music of Spaced Out Radio, rocking us in and out of every single show. Get your horns up for the guitar god himself. Special thanks to everybody listening in at home, in your cars, at work, in our chat rooms, the SOR Space Travelers Club, Revolution Radio, and of course on Spreaker, Twitter at #SpacedOutRadio, wherever you may be. Remember, this show is copyright by Spaced Out Radio and SOR Media Ventures Limited. And of course, everybody listening in the alphabet groups, hope you enjoyed tonight's show. Remember, thank you so much for helping us be bigger and better every single night, because together, my friends, we own the night. I will talk to you in 21 hours from now. Mr. Bumblefoot, we need a favor. We need you to take us home. Have a good night, everybody. See you tomorrow.